Okay, moving right along with the events of King David, Israel, and Judah in 2 Samuel chapter 21. Now there was a famine in the days of David for 3 years, year after year, and David sought the presence of the Lord. And the Lord said, "It is for Saul and his bloody house, because he put the Gibeonites to death." So the king called the Gibeonites and spoke to them. Now the Gibeonites were not the sons of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And the sons of Israel made a covenant with them. But Saul had sought to kill them in his zeal for the sons of Israel and Judah. Verse 3. Thus David said to the Gibeonites, "What should I do for you? And how can I make atonement that you may bless the inheritance of the Lord?" Then the Gibeonites said to him, "We have no concern of silver or gold with Saul or his house, nor is it for us to put any man to death in Israel." And he said, "I will do for you whatever you say." So they said to the king, "The man who consumed us, and who planned to exterminate us from remaining within any border of Israel, let 7 men from his sons be given to us, and we will hang them before the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, the chosen of the Lord." And the king said, "I will give them." So back in chapter 4, I made a mistake. I spoke of the last descendants of Saul. That was an error on my behalf that I'd like to apologize for. What happened was that all of Saul's sons were killed, which was the point I was trying to get across. And even his daughter Michal was made barren in childbirth because of her bad attitude towards David. But clearly Saul had grandchildren remaining, so again, my apology. But still, as we'll see, things didn't really work out for Saul and what he wanted for his descendants. Okay, verse 7. But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the oath of the Lord which was between them, between David and Saul's son Jonathan. So the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Ai, Armoni and Mephibosheth, whom she had borne to Saul. So take note there that this Mephibosheth was born to Saul. So this would have been Jonathan's brother and the uncle of Jonathan's son Mephibosheth, whom he was likely named after. And the 5 sons of Merab, the daughter of Saul, whom she had borne to Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Maholathite. Then he gave them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the mountain before the Lord, so that the 7 of them fell together, and they were put to death in the first days of harvest, at the beginning of barley harvest. And keep in mind, these folks were still living in the eye for an eye days of the Old Testament prior to the coming of Christ. Verse 10. And Rizpah, the daughter of Ai, took sackcloth and spread it for herself on the rock, from the beginning of harvest until it rained on them from the sky. And she allowed neither the birds of the sky to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. When it was told David what Rizpah, the daughter of Ai, the concubine of Saul, had done, then David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh Gilead, who had stolen them from the open square of Beth-shan, where the Philistines had hanged them on the day the Philistines struck down Saul in Gilboa. He brought up the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from there, and they gathered the bones of those who had been hanged. They buried the bones of Saul and Jonathan his son in the country of Benjamin in Zelah, in the grave of Kish his father. Thus they did all that the king commanded. And after that God was moved by prayer for the land. Back in these days, instead of using coffins like we do today, they had small boxes, usually just a few feet wide and long, called ossuaries, and they would put dead people's bones in them. Now when the Philistines were at war again with Israel, David went down and his servants with him, and as they fought against the Philistines, David became weary. Then Ishbi-Benob, who was among the descendants of the giant, the weight of whose spear was 300 shekels of bronze in weight, was girded with a new sword, and he intended to kill David. Okay, the Hebrew term used for giant here is Rapha. This was not the name of an individual, but a term used collectively for the Rephaim, who inhabited the land of Canaan and were noted for their extraordinary size. This stuff was real, and there actually is a lot of evidence in archaeology if you start digging into it. Very fascinating stuff if you want to check it out. The Rephaim is the same thing as the Anakim from the book of Deuteronomy. The sword this guy had was about 7.5 pounds, so it was a good sized sword. Okay, verse 17. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, helped him, and struck the Philistine and killed him. Then the men of David swore to him, saying, You shall not go out again with us to battle, so that you do not extinguish the lamp of Israel. No more fighting, David. You got to stay back in the palace. Now it came about after this that there was war again with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sibbecai the Hushathite struck down Saph, who was among the descendants of the giant. There was war with the Philistines again at Gob, and Elhanan, the son of Jer-Oragim the Bethlehemite, killed Goliath the Gittite, the shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. So obviously a different Goliath. Verse 20, there was war at Gath again, where there was a man of great stature who had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number, and he also had been born to the giant, and killed the father of Inigo Montoya and had to prepare to die. Just kidding. Little Princess Bride humor for you. When he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimei, David's brother, struck him down. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. So these giants just can't hang with David. And that's a wrap for the day. I hope you guys can be here tomorrow. God bless you. Have a good one.